What up, D-League? Welcome to Week 6. Pretty crazy week in fantasy football last week. I'm going to start off this week's show by taking a look at how I did last week in the picks. As you can see, I had a pretty dismal 1-4 last week selecting picks. I went and slayed a giant, which I never really saw coming. I gave Adam and Travis way too much credit. And Jamie got taken down by James last week, which actually earned him this award.
Well, obviously we have a rapist.
I'll take the rapists for 200.
He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
Rape is coming. Don't get raped.
Alright, our rapist of the week this week is James. As seen here, James sodomized Jamie for 103.74 points for a 37.48 point beatdown. The only thing that Jamie won last week is this next award.
Bitch, I'm about to ball this.
I have an IQ of 48 and am what some people call mentally retarded.
He was a retard.
I'm a driver. I'm a winner. Things are gonna change. I can feel it.
Only reason I'm crying is because of the adrenaline.
Alright, the biggest loser of the week this week is Jamie. Jamie put up a hot 66.26 points in his effort last week. This award would actually be going to Travis, but he made the genius decision to start Arian Foster over Chris Johnson.
That's terrible.
Had he started Chris Johnson, this award would be going to Travis. Hopefully Jamie can make some more good decisions like last week and give me a W this week before he gets back to his winning ways. Alright, let's take a look at the trades that happened this last week. So Adam made a trade with Jamie. Adam sent Jamie his 2011 second rounder and Brandon Pettigrew for Mike Sims Walker. This last week, Adam changed his name to Seppuku. This is not the first time or the last time that we will see Adam commit this act. Since Adam can't win at fantasy football, he thought he would try his hand at winning the stupidest trade contest. This week, Adam woke up and decided to make a move on Mike Sims Walker, who will feel much more at home on Adam's roster, surrounded by people who are consistently inconsistent. This is yet another act by a desperate man. Adam's been on tilt all season ever since throwing his game plan out the window. Hopefully trading for a guy who's had 2 good fantasy weeks pays off for Adam. But I don't feel like an injury-prone Mike Sims Walker is a true number 1 wide receiver with or without David Garrard as the quarterback. My best advice is keep Adam's name firmly in your Google alerts. He's definitely on Seppuku watch. Let's take a look at our next trade. Unfortunately, Adam also lost the stupidest trade contest because Nate made a decision to make a trade with Dan this week. Nate's sending Dan Joe Flacco, Lance Moore, and his 2011 4th rounder for Sean Hill, Fred Jackson, and Dan's 2011 second rounder. What the Nate gave Dan the biggest piece that he's been missing this entire fantasy season. In return, he gets a running back that turns 30 next year, so that way he owns both running backs in the NFL's worst team this year. Now that Dan has the quarterback that he needs, the second rounder next year probably won't even be that good of a pick. As if that's not bad enough, Dan also made him throw in Lance Moore and a 4th rounder.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
As far as bad trades goes, this ranks somewhere between the Vikings trading for Herschel Walker and the Louisiana Purchase. If this trade was toilet paper, it would already have too much shit on it for me to wipe my ass with. Alright, let's take a look at this week's matchups. We have Mind Grapes taking on Dirty Sanchez. I'm coming into this at 2-3. Jamie's sitting at 4-1. This is our marquee matchup of the week. I'm going to go out on a limb and predict an upset here this week. I do feel that losing Finley is a blow to Jamie, even though he can just plug in Vernon Davis. San Francisco is beyond bad right now, and I think that Oakland's secondary is definitely going to be focusing on Davis this week. There's not much that you can really fault and pick apart on Jamie's squad, but all of his squad does have little minor dings here and there. I feel if you combine all of that with my team actually showing up this week, and I think that we could be in for a vicious cockfight. So I'm going to predict me for the win this week. Coming at you, Jamie.
I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey.
Like a spider monkey. Go on.
Alright, next up we have Team Dynasty versus Seppuku. James is coming into this at 3-2. Adam is sitting at a hot 1-4. This is definitely our toilet bowl match of the week. If this were on TV, I would highly suggest changing the channel. James is trying to fight his way into the playoffs, and Adam is trying to fight his own stupidity. After trading away future draft picks, Adam has acquired a guy that he's not even sure that he wants to start this week. This game is pretty much a must-win for Adam if he's going to salvage his season. But I advise covering your hair and your eyes, because I got a feeling that James is going to beat his legs good.
Hey, tell him everything.
And we held him down, and we just wailed on his legs.
Ah! You were cold as ice.
Alright, next up we have Any Given Sunday taking on Rainbow Warriors. Both these teams are coming in at 3-2. Can you say beatdown? Dave is going to start Vince Young this week and nobody will even notice. Colin's going to start his fast decline back down the ladder this week. Colin's beginning his 3-game stretch of Dave, Jamie, and then James. It's going to be a long 3 weeks for Colin. I think Dave's going to bring down the thunder on Colin this week. Alright, next up we have KC Reunited taking on Mavericks. So Sean's coming into this at 3-2 and Dan is sitting at 2-3. I think we're going to get our first taste of the impact of Nate's trade. Sean's now starting to reach bye weeks on his already shaky wide receiver core. Looked at his roster, and I can't tell you who he's going to start, but I can pretty much tell you how they're going to perform. This week I actually think Dan's going to get back into the fight and take down Sean. So I'm going with Dan. Alright, next up we have Here Comes Treble taking on Any Given Sunday. So Travis coming into this at 3-2. Nate sitting at 1-4. I think this match is actually going to be a lot closer than it needs to be. Trav needs this win before he starts the brutal stretch of his schedule. Nate hasn't really put up much of a fight this fantasy year. And if Rodgers is out, I think it'll be just like that again this week. But if Rodgers is playing, which it looks like he might, then I think this contest could be a lot closer. Nate's starting a combination of Brandon Lloyd and Malcolm Floyd, both of which are very boom or bust. Hopefully for Trav, this week it is more bust than boom. I think Nate's lack of a running back pretty much at all, and his inconsistent roster is going to be what allows Travis to squeak by here this week. But like I said, keep an eye. I think this will be a closer matchup than people think. Alright, well that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Good luck everybody on your fantasy weekend, and Adam, try not to do anything stupid.